Shedeur Sanders may be stealing a show in Cleveland, but what can we learn from it? Let's get into this thing right now. What up, what up, what up? It's your boy JB coming right back at you. Welcome back to the channel, man. Make sure you mash that subscribe button as soon as you come into the building. I had to jump on here real fast on this hot Florida day, man, down here and talk about what to learn from Shedeur Sanders stealing the show in Cleveland. Guys, I saw an article yesterday where Shedeur Sanders was 7 of 9, 3 TDs in the OTAs with the Cleveland Browns. And I said, you know what? The key to helping Shedeur get to the next level is we got to be objective with him. And when I'm critical of him, I'm going to be critical. But when he is doing something great, I think it's important for all of us podcasters to make sure we report from both sides of the coin, man. And I got to tell y'all, this right here is unreal. If what is coming out of these camps are true. And one of the things, guys, I wrote some notes down, so I apologize if you guys see me looking at my phone, but I had to write these notes down because this thing is crazy, guys. This thing is crazy. First of all, let's talk about this situation. Jerry Jeudy is on Twitter liking certain posts. Now, Jerry Jeudy wasn't going to get caught up in his press conference talking about Shedeur, but he was liking some of the posts that people are writing about Shedeur. And guys, I got to tell you right now, if that's happening, that lets me know a lot. Now, y'all know when I saw this graphic about Shedeur Sanders being 7 for 9, Shedeur Sanders had the least amount of opportunities, the least amount of snaps, but was the most efficient. Right? Now, I saw where Joe Flacco came out and said he don't want to be a mentor, but Joe Flacco also said that Shedeur is great in the QB room. Guys, these are all the stories that need to come out because I'm starting to think it was true that Shedeur actually blew off the formal process for the pre-draft process. I'm starting to think it's true. I'm not saying that it wasn't some other stuff going on, but I'm thinking that how can a guy be getting this type of press now? We know they're against him. How do we know Shedeur's doing well? Because they're not talking about if Shedeur had any interceptions, it would have been front page news. So I'm starting to believe that this graphic is true. I'm starting to believe that Shedeur Sanders is winning over the locker room, and I'm starting to believe that Shedeur Sanders now is recognizing that the NFL is a business and he's approaching it as such. And I got to tell you guys, do y'all remember, if y'all follow Well Off Media, remember the whole Rolls Royce that showed up at Coach Prime's house? And somebody reported it that it was Shedeur's car, that Shedeur is buying a Rolls Royce while he's number 5 on the depth chart. Y'all remember that? Yeah. What did Shedeur come out and say? Lies. I'm focused on my team. Guys, if this Shedeur would have happened during the pre-draft process, just like my previous video said, where he should have been the first person off the board, Shedeur Sanders, with all the flash and the shine and going through the process and showing you that he knows the game of football, Cam Ward didn't have a shot at being number 1. Cam Ward became the number 1 draft pick taken because Cam Ward respected the process, stayed quiet. Shedeur Sanders, if it is true that he actually neglected the process and didn't take it as serious, that's the only reason he dropped 5 rounds, guys. Because if he's doing what he's doing now, if he would have done it in the pre-draft process, guys, I'm not saying Cam Ward wouldn't have been a top pick. Cam Ward wouldn't have been the number 1 pick. Because if Shedeur's doing this and he's number 5 guy, remember, if he's the number 5 on the depth chart, he's playing to get cut. He's playing for practice team or to put tape up there so that somebody else might pick him up. But we talking about QB1 now. Look, I know he's doing well. Deshaun Watson trying to say he coming back early. Joe Flacco is talking about he don't want to be a mentor. You know why you don't want to be a mentor? Because he's going to take your job. You're going to be on to the next city. Okay? So Jerry Jeudy is talking about Shedeur Sanders. Joe Flacco don't have a bad thing to say about him. Shedeur had the least amount of snaps and he was the most efficient. What else can we learn? Guys, I got to tell you, Dillon Gabriel, he got to be on his way out. And let me tell you why, guys. The coach and the GM that picked Dillon Gabriel over Shedeur, they have to make sure that he gets the reps he needs. But the more reps he gets, the worse he's looking. Now, everybody talk about Coach Prime looking out for Shedeur and making it easy for Shedeur. It's time for us to start realizing that Dan Lanning may have protected Dylan Gabriel way more than Coach Prime ever did, right? Because why is Dylan Gabriel having these problems? We know he had a height problem and this kind of thing, but he throwing interceptions left and right. Is the game moving too fast for him? Right? Guys, this is what you can learn from this. Let the person who people think are better than you give them the reps. You take what they give you and make the most out of it. And the person you think is better than you, or they think is better than you, give them the reps and watch them fail. And that's the thing that Shedeur Sanders is doing. Shedeur Sanders got 9 snaps. Dylan Gabriel, I think they said, had 16 snaps. Guys, if they got to give Dylan Gabriel these snaps. Dylan Gabriel didn't want them to pick Shedeur. That was one of the stories that came out. He didn't want Shedeur to get picked because he would rather compete against Joe Flacco because of the age. He would rather compete against Deshaun Watson because of the injury, and he didn't really care about Kenny Pickett because they didn't pick up his option. Dylan Gabriel didn't want the competition. He didn't want the smoke. He didn't want the heat. Shedeur, because of the way Coach Prime runs his practices, where you got to practice like you're going to play and it's got to be competition, Shedeur built for this. Now, guys, I'm going to keep repeating. What if Shedeur just would have been like this during the draft process? Number 1 pick, $50 million gone. Why? Not because he couldn't do it, but because he didn't do it. Everybody was expecting this Shedeur in the NFL pre-draft process, and Shedeur would have been the top pick. But when somebody thinks somebody else is better than you, and you got to compete against them, don't matter that they don't give you a fair shake. Take the opportunities they give, make the most of it, because that person who's not better than you, they already know they're not better than you. And when they got pressure on them, they can't perform. That's what's happening with Dylan Gabriel right now. Last, guys, everybody keeps talking about Shedeur Sanders, right? I mean, Shedeur Sanders and Tom Brady. Tom Brady was not a Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders was projected to be a top pick after his first year at Colorado, right? Tom Brady was never projected to be this NFL superstar. So we got to make sure we delineate between that, right? So here we are, guys. Tom Brady told Shedeur to get in the playbook, right? Shedeur, if in fact it is true that he didn't, now Tom Brady saw that the lifestyle could be a distraction for Shedeur. Shedeur has cut all of that off, and it's paying off for him, guys. But let's not think this is a Tom Brady situation. Nobody believed in Tom Brady. That's why Tom Brady was drafted in the 7th round, right? Shedeur Sanders had high expectations, and whatever you believe went on, Shedeur Sanders was expected to go in the 1st round. Nobody picked Shedeur to go in the 5th round. Now, because Shedeur Sanders performed the way he did in the pre-draft process, people didn't think he was him. But we starting to see Shedeur Sanders is him. Why? Because when it's just a football discussion, Shedeur's stepping up. Remember what I said, guys, in the NFL pre-draft process. Look at how QB select QB coach ran that. Shedeur did everything. Did you see the ducks and some of the throw? Yeah, absolutely. But everybody ain't gonna throw a perfect ball all the time. Shedeur Sanders, guys. Shedeur Sanders. Mark my words. If Shedeur Sanders becomes QB number 1, this will be the biggest marketing and branding athlete in the history of all sports. Dropped from 1st round to 5th round. Lost out on how much money, right? Name got smeared. Everybody said he ain't the guy. If this man comes back, and Cam Newton said something on 4th and 1 the other day. Best thing about being that 5th round pick is there's no 5th year option on his contract, so he can get paid. But Shedeur Sanders, this will be the biggest redemption tour we have ever seen. Can y'all imagine Shedeur Sanders getting his swag back, being able to do his swag thing with well-off media because he has defied all the odds? This will be the biggest marketing and branding athlete in history. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, right? Derek Jeter. You think about it, guys. Wayne Gretzky, you think about anybody who has been marketed and branded like this. America and the world loves a redemption story. And if Shedeur Sanders is winning people over and this boy's pro-ready and he comes out to be QB1 and can make a respectable Cleveland Browns team, make it, like Cam Newton said, to the 1st round of the playoffs, even if they lose, the biggest marketing and branding story we're going to watch. And this will be because of Shedeur Sanders, not because of Coach Prime, not because of his last name. This man would have gotten it out of the mud. He had been humbled. He's been embarrassed. They have done everything you could do to a man. And if he comes back, guys, he don't, God forbid any injuries or anything like that. If he comes back, the biggest marketing and branding story ever. Shedeur Sanders will break the bank on every record we've seen. His second contract going to be the biggest one we've ever seen by miles. His endorsement deals are going to be the biggest we've ever seen by miles. All of a sudden, guys, anybody who doubted him, anybody who gave him crap because of who his daddy was, he was getting favoritism, this, that, and the third, it's out of the window now. Shedeur Sanders, if he pulls this off, you talk about what we can learn. And I left this at the end for a reason. The biggest marketing and branding deals we will ever see in our life. And I can tell y'all like this, following this kid since he was at Jackson State, following this kid when he got to Colorado, guys, I can tell you like this thing will be the biggest story ever written. Y'all mark it, y'all mark the words, man. Heard it here first on the Smoke Something, Drink Something podcast, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all get down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think, man. Is Jeff crazy or is Jeff on to something? If you hadn't already, mash that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell for notifications. And until next time, I'm going to holler.